Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. In today's video I'm going to be talking all about coconut wax. So I switched from soy to coconut wax just because the soy that I really like and I want to work with is out of stock. I found that soy to be fairly easy to work with than the other soy out there. And if you guys know, I'm going to be a student in the future, so I just wanted a wax that was easy to work with no or little manipulations. So I switched to coconut wax, and I've been testing coconut wax for the past 4 months now. And you guys, I love the wax. I really like it. So I just want to kind of talk to you guys about it and things to kind of know when you're making coconut wax. I will bring you a video of me actually making a candle with it very soon, but I just feel like I didn't want to put this in the same video, so to make it really long, so I just want to make a separate video on everything before I kind of bring you the actual video. So coconut wax. So there are a bunch of coconut wax out there. There's cocoa soy, there's coco-apricot, there is C16 I believe, there's cocobrew, there's cocobrew, which I haven't tested. The two that I've worked with so far is the coco-apricot and the cocoa soy coconut wax. There's also a cocoa paraben blend, which is I believe IGI 6046. I'll leave the different kind of coconut wax in the description, and also where you can find them in the description as well, in case you're looking for it. So I have my notes here just to keep me organized and stuff like that. Coconut wax is a very soft wax, so when it dry up, it's still soft. It's not really that hard, and sometimes that could be a problem for somebody, but because in the summer, maybe when you're shipping this candle, it might tend to kind of melt quickly in the sun than other harder waxes, but that is very preventable though, so I don't see that to be a huge con. So I'm just gonna go through the reason why I really like coconut wax and some of the things that is a little iffy about it. They are not really, I don't want to say they are cons per se, because they are things that if you keep testing you'll figure out. So coconut wax, they are very easy to work with. I have used quite a few waxes in trying to learn and figure out what wax I want to work with. Coconut wax is one of the waxes that I find out to be very easy to work with. It is very easy to, you guys, I can tell you how easy it is to work with, but I really like it. I really like it. And the next thing is you get a strong cold throw and hot throw from it. It's easy to get these things from coconut wax. If you're somebody that you're using 464 or any other wax, you're not getting a hot throw from it, try coconut wax. Like, it's easy to get it from it. You don't have to use no weird method or anything, like, and the hot throw is pretty much consistent. You really can't mess it up like that. That's one that I like about it. And I also like that it is a one pour wax, so that means that when you're making your candle and then you pour it into the jar, it just gives you the perfect smooth top. You don't have to go ahead and be using a heat gun and stuff like that. You could use a heat gun, but I'll talk about that later in the video, but not for the surface. You don't have to go ahead, you don't get sinkholes, you don't get an even surface or anything like that. It's just beautiful. And another thing is, it's beautiful. Coconut wax is just beautiful. I like the white color that it gives you. So those are the things I like about coconut wax. The things that people consider to be issue, coconut wax could be expensive, and that is something that I am saying lightly because I really do not think so that it is that expensive. I think it's just a couple of cents expensive than your other regular waxes out there. Granted though, let's say you're using something like a 464, which is very easy to find. Like, I try to find a supplier around me to get my wax locally because it saved me money on shipping, and the only wax that I could easily find is 464. So that means that when I'm using 464, it reduces my cost price drastically. I mean, that is a reason to consider when you're making candle, but I just wanted a candle, a wax I can work with that can give me the cold through and hot through that I want, and it's also fairly easy to work with. Now, when you're buying other waxes that you can find around you and you're going to buy it from somewhere else and be shipped to your house, I don't think coconut wax is that much expensive than the other ones, especially when you get them from places like Wooden Wick and Norwood Candle Supply and other places. They are affordable because you end up getting free shipping for it. And another thing is, when you get bigger and then you're buying in bulk, the prices reduces drastically. So that too expensive thing, I hear it a lot, and at first I kind of got scared about it when people keep saying it's expensive, until I kind of just sat down and factor in a lot of things, and I realized it's really not that expensive, you guys. It's just a couple cents more. And yes, a couple cents on £1 multiplied by so many pounds would be a lot of money, but if you really sit down and do the math with the shipping and everything, it end up being very affordable. So you guys, before you say it's expensive, do the math. So I don't think that's really a con. So the other con is coconut wax is hard to wick. You have to keep trying and trying. Like, the wax that I use for soy tan is pretty easy to wick. Like, I figured that thing out in like 2 weeks, and I really liked it. That's another wax that can give you a really hot throw and cold throw as well, and you don't have to cure for so many days, which we'll talk about in the next point. Coconut wax is hard to wick. That being said, though, there are wicks out there that I've found out that work pretty well with coconut wax. The ones that I've tested are the City Wick, the Premier Wick, and the new HSPS Wick from Norwood Supply. I have a video on the HSPS Wick. I'll leave it in the description below. So those are the wicks that I've found out to work with coconut wax pretty easily. And another wig that I've been seeing in a candle group that I'm part of, which I'll also leave a link to in the description, is called the Love for Coconut Wax or Coconut Candle, something like that, and it's on Facebook. It is an amazing group to be part of. So if you're doing coconuts, if you're using coconut wax, be sure to check it out. Another wig that I realize people talk about is the LX wig. I cannot pronounce that, I don't know why. And I tried to get my hands on it, but Candle Science was out of the sample pack. I just didn't want to buy the individual pack. You guys, I'm tired of buying stuff, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna use what I have. The next thing that is kind of an issue with people using coconut wax is the cure time. As somebody who is starting a business, you want to sell things, you want to make things and sell it quickly, so you do not want to like have a candle sit down in your house for 2 weeks before you can sell it. And that creates a lot of problem for people, because they are used to having waxes that you can use to make candle, and then you can quickly ship them and sell them out and stuff. Like, you cannot do that with coconut wax. Coconut wax need time to cure. It's like 1 or 2 out of 10 cents that you make will probably give you a hot throw in like 2 or 3 days, but that's very rare. You have to cure for a minimum of like at least a week or 2. I find that 2 weeks is a very good spot for it. The candles I make after 2 weeks, you guys, the hot throws are amazing. So just be patient. It takes a lot of patience to work with coconut wax, and that's what some people don't like. But I've heard amazing stuff about the new coconut wax. It's called Cocobrew. I'm not sure, I don't remember where that is found, but I'll leave it in the description. I'll look for it. It's called cocobrew, and I heard you can get a hot throw from it like the very next day. I haven't tested that. I was tempted to try and test it and kind of use it in conjunction with my my coco-apricot wax that I'm using. So maybe if I run out of the candle that I'm selling with the coco-apricot wax, I can use the cocobrew to kind of give my customers a candle while they wait for the coco-apricot wax to cure. But I just decided against it because I went to the website and I think the smallest amount they were selling was like £10, and I just didn't want £10 of wax in my house or something that I just want to test out. What if I don't like it? That's another money wasted. No. So maybe I'll test it in the future, but right now, no. So yeah, that's another thing. That's another, I feel like, another downside of coconut wax. It takes longer to cure. And the final down thing is, it looks like a down stuff are looking like a lot, but they are not really. If you really think about it, they are not really downside like that. If you keep wicking and testing, you'll find the right wick for your jar. And I've also tried to not be a perfectionist. I found out that I was doing that with most of my candles, because it's hard to find the perfect wick that do not flicker, do not mushroom, do not do all of that. Like, a wig is gonna give you most of the thing without giving you one thing. So I've learned to kind of put my gas down a little bit. So the next thing is the adhering problem. Coconut wax have a poor adhering properties, if I should put it like that. So that means that when you put it in your jar, sometimes it will kind of shift away from the jar, so it doesn't adhere to the jar well. So you might probably have an issue that you make a candle and then you flip it around and then it's coming out of the jar. That happens, but it's not going to be like that all the time. You might get wet spots, which means that part of the jars did not adhere well and part of it adhere well. So sometimes it's very hard to just get a complete no adhering and then the wax is coming out. It could happen if you do not hit your wax very high. So yeah, that's one thing I found about coconut wax. It have adhering problem. So if that is your problem and you do not like seeing wet spot, because for me personally it bothers me, like, I don't know what it is, but it bothers me. I just do not like seeing it like that. But on the other side too, as a customer, before I started making candles, when I was going to buy candles, those things do not ring in my ear. I don't even know what wet spot was like a while ago. So when I'm going to buy a candle, I don't look at those things. So trust me, most of your customers do not care about the wet spot. They are not looking for that. All they want is to buy a candle that smells good. That is all they want. So don't let it bother you. If you're someone like me and it bothers you, you might want to switch over to an opaque glass. So use a glass that is painted like black or white. That way you do not see the wet spot or anything like that. So yeah, if it bothers you, just do what I said. Switch your glass. Problem solved. Another thing too I found out is, you could, if you're somebody who you're having a very large wet spot, you could use the foil method. And the foil method is like using an aluminum foil to wrap around the glass and hitting it with a heat gun for like 10 seconds before you go in and pour your wax. It makes the wax dry up pretty slowly, so it kind of stopped the adhering process. The thing with that is, I used that before, so I was super happy, and I was like, my candle, I have 0 wet spots. And the issue with coconut wax is the wet spot can happen anytime. It can happen anytime. If you don't see it today, you might see it like 1 week later. So it depends on the temperature around and stuff like that, the wet spot will happen. So the issue is, you can't really control it. So you can control it now, but are you going to keep your candle in a room that have a constant temperature? It's not possible. Like it's really not possible. So yeah, if you're having a problem with the candle completely not adhering, then you might want to try the foil method. It works pretty amazing. I like it. I really like it. Oh, so let's get to how we make the coconut candle using the cocoa wax. So I'm just going to give you some tips. Like I said, I will be going through the process with you visually to show you how it's made, but right now I'm just going to give you a couple of tips. One is, make sure you're heating your wax to a very high temperature. Coconut wax is not like the other waxes like soy wax and the rest, so be sure to heat it at a really high temperature. I try to go at 200 or even 210 if I can. If I'm using the double boil method, maybe 200, because it takes forever to get to 210. But if I'm using my press to pour, it's usually at 210, 220, which is fine. Just don't go crazy, but just be at a very high temperature. And make sure you're adding your fragrance oil at a high temperature as well, and you're pouring at a high temperature. Coconut oil, everything must be at a very high temperature. It helps with your hearing problem, and also it helps to lower your wet spot to some extent. So yeah, I try to heat my wax to like 220 like I said, and then I add my fragrance oil around 190 to 200 Fahrenheit, and then after stirring for 30 seconds or 1 minute max, I go ahead and pour it. So that's all I do every time, you guys, every time. And all the candles I've made have been successful using that method, and I really like it. I'm currently testing a candle right now. I'm not getting a hot throw, which I know I won't get because I made it like 3 days ago. So yeah, bringing the video of that, you'll probably see that video before this one, or this one before that one, anywho. So yeah, that's all I will say about coconut wax. It is an amazing wax. I love it. I like using it. If you haven't tried, be sure to check it out. And also, like I said, I'll leave the Facebook group in the description. Be sure to check it out. I'll leave in the description and maybe also in the comments as well. It is a very supportive group. You can ask questions and get people to chip in and help you to take your frustration away. So yeah, be sure to check that Facebook group. It is an amazing place to be at. I learned a lot in that Facebook group, and the admin is very involved in the process as well. If you're someone who is using coconut wax and you have been using it for a while, let me know in the comment. Do you like it? What are some of the issues that you're facing? Have you found the magic method to use and not get wet spot? I would love to know, so leave that in the comments. And how is weekend going? have the weekend given you a headache? Let me know in the comments, and all the amazing stuff about coconut wax. So yeah, you guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate you watching my video, and yeah, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers, which is sounds very crazy, but I'm keeping on to faith, okay? So I'll catch you in my next video. Until then, stay blessed and beautiful.